Yo, how's it going? You're doing back in the video, and today I'm going to be talking about how the Minnesota Timberwolves just became one of the most interesting teams in the entire NBA. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to be one of the best teams in the NBA. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they're going to be one of the most interesting and fun to watch teams out of all of them, and there's a few reasons why I think that, and I'll be getting to all those reasons in this video. So if that does sound interesting to you, please watch the video all the way through. Hit the like button, subscribe button if you do like the video at any point, and without further ado, without running on too much, just get right into this video. So the first thing I want to get into for this video is going to be their huge boom or bust potential. At their highest peak of this team, they can win an NBA Finals, but at their lowest, they can go out in the first round or maybe even in the play-in tournament, because we really just never really seen a roster constructed like this, and we don't know how they're going to actually be built. Now, I don't think they're going to go out in the first round or anything like that, but I don't think they're going to win the finals either. I think it's going to be somewhere in the middle, maybe second or third round, when they are in fact eliminated from the playoffs. But that is their peaks and valleys that they do have with this roster, and that is one of the things that make them so interesting, because it's such a volatile roster. And the reason this roster is so volatile is because it has a core, or at least a big four really, of what we really never seen a big four constructed kind of like this, which is D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert, and Karl Anthony Towns. And nobody really knows how this will work out, because they do have two very good big men. Rudy Gobert is a multi-time defensive player of the year. He's a great rim protector, great rebounder, and he can also catch a lot of lobs. Karl Anthony Towns is one of the best offensive big men in the entire league. Anthony Edwards is one of the best offensive players in the entire league, at least young offensive players in the entire league that's still developing and getting better every year. And then D'Angelo Russell is still a veteran that can give you around 20 points per game. So those four all do something at an elite level and are all all-star level players when they are at their peak. So for sure, this big four has a chance, if they're all four playing very good and they can all complement each other, to play very, very well together. The problem comes when you look at some of the weaknesses this big four could have, because this big four might not be able to play very good perimeter defense. D'Angelo Russell is not known for his defense. Anthony Edwards is an okay defender, but definitely not known for his defense. Rudy Gobert can't play the perimeter defense to save his life. It's actually one of the biggest knocks on his entire career. And Karl Anthony Towns has most definitely never been known for his defense. So defensively, this team could struggle a lot, especially if you look at him on the perimeter. But then if you look at the potential strength that this big four could have together, it then kind of balances it out. As if you look at the big man combo they have of Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns is one of the most offensively talented big men in the entire league, and is known for his offense and is an absolute beast when it comes to his offensive game. But the problem with him is usually his defense gets him in trouble. Well, Rudy Gobert is literally the complete opposite version of that. He is completely known for his defense. He's one of the best defensive big men in the entire league, but he lacks a lot when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. When he's not just catching lobs, he really cannot score that much. But Karl Anthony Towns should be able to help a ton of that and kind of hide that weakness, in the same way Rudy Gobert should help hide Karl Anthony Towns' weakness of his defensive side of the ball. So hopefully they can work together very well. And then D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards, although they're both pretty average to below average defenders, they're very above average offensive players. Anthony Edwards is really coming into his own. He's developing. He's becoming one of the more interesting and fun players to watch. And D'Angelo Russell is just going to be a 20-point per game scorer pretty much every single night. Now, hopefully he can continue to do that in the playoffs when they are in the playoffs, because last year in the playoffs, he looked nothing like himself. He played very bad, and that's why they were kind of looking to trade him for a little bit. But hopefully D'Angelo Russell can still look like D'Angelo Russell when they go into the playoffs, and that those two guys can help offensively and be one of the most unguardable duos in the entire NBA, while still having Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns being able to be on the court at the same time as all of them. So there's a chance that all four of them could work very well together, and that they could make it very hard on opposing teams' defenses and even be good on defense because of Rudy Gobert. Or there's a chance that they just don't work together at all. D'Lo and Anthony Edwards just are too much. There's not enough ball for both of them to go around. Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns, their perimeter defense is just too bad, and Rudy Gobert's offense is just not enough to make up for that. So it's really going to be a balancing act. We don't know how it's going to look until the NBA season starts, and that's why I think their huge boom or bust potential could be a very interesting thing to watch going into the rest of this NBA season coming up. And another thing that can make this team very interesting is that a lot of the weaknesses from the last season should be going away. As last year, they allowed the 8th most rebounds per game, the 7th most offensive rebounds per game, and were just an average to below average paint defense team and blocks per game team as well. Those are all things Rudy Gobert should be able to erase. Those should no longer be weaknesses with Rudy Gobert on the court. He's a great rebounder, great shot protector, great rim protector, and a great shot blocker. So all those things should go up, and that they should no longer be a weakness for this team. Now, other weaknesses, like I said earlier, their perimeter defense and other things might crop up a little bit more, but overall, their interior defense should be a lot better, and teams won't be able to just bully them in the paint or anything like that, because last year they did have 2 undersized big men in Karl-Anthony Towns and Naz Reid, but although they're both strong, they're not the best defenders, they're not the best at protecting the paint, and that's something Rudy Gobert is going to be very good at, and is an elite level player at it, and there's really almost no one better when it comes to shot blocking and rim protection than Rudy Gobert. So hopefully a lot of those things should go up, and that Rudy Gobert is going to help hide a lot of those weaknesses that this team did have just a few years ago. But then what makes it even more interesting is although they are hiding some of their weaknesses, they may have exposed a few new ones that not a lot of people are talking about. And one of those weaknesses is going to be that they sacrificed a lot of depth in order to get Rudy Gobert, as they traded away Patrick Beverley, Malik Beasley, Jarrett Vanderbilt, and the rookie they drafted this season. So those are 4 players that probably would have played for them this year that are no longer on the roster, and this team is going to be that much shorter on the depth chart already just due to that. Patrick Beverley is one of the best role players in the entire NBA. Malik Beasley is one of the best bench scorers in the entire NBA. Jarrett Vanderbilt is a very solid 3-and-D guy, and then that rookie Walker Kessler would have been a very solid shot blocker and rebounder as well. So I think for sure that they did give up a lot of depth, and maybe the strengths that they added by adding Rudy Gobert, I don't know if those strengths are going to outweigh how much less deep this team was, because last year they were so good because of how deep they were, how good this team got along, how good they all played together, and how bought in they all were into their culture. Now, if Rudy Gobert can buy into the culture like Patrick Beverley could and all those other players, then this team should be fine. But if Rudy Gobert doesn't buy into that culture, that strength, gritty, grind type of culture that the Minnesota Timberwolves built, they could be in trouble, because I'm not sure that Rudy Gobert is going to do that. And Anthony Edwards kind of had a quote about him when he wasn't on his team that he doesn't put fear in anyone. So is there going to be beef right there? We already know Rudy Gobert and kind of had tumultuous relationships with someone like Donovan Mitchell in the past. So is Anthony Edwards going to be the same situation? It's going to be a whole thing they have to figure out. And that's why this team is so interesting. There's so many storylines with them. There's so many weaknesses that they added, but also so many strengths that they added. This team at its peak, like I said, could be a finals contender, but at its valley might be a first round exit team. We really don't know what the peak of this team is, what the valley of this team is. It's so versatile. It's going to be, volatile. It's going to be very fun to watch this team and kind of figure them out as the season goes on. But unfortunately, guys, that's me for this video. So comment below, do you agree with me? Do you think the Minnesota Timberwolves are one of the more interesting teams in the NBA? Who do you think is going to be more fun to watch? Do you think they're going to be fun to watch? How do you think they're going to work out? On your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you like the video, point that like button, subscribe button, it would mean the absolute world to me. And I hope you have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. So you have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.